Are you limerent and looking for ways of healing or curing? If you are, then this video is for you. I've got a quick tip that you can actually start using right away to reduce your intense feelings of limerence. But first, let's start with my story. Okay, so a couple of years back, I was dating this guy. Okay, actually, we weren't even really dating, we were just talking. Okay, I didn't even know him well, but I was obsessed, okay, as being limerent, and I was in my, long limerence phase at that time. You usually get very obsessed with people that you don't even know, right? And for this one, it was mostly long distance. It wasn't serious at all. Okay, it was still at the talking phase. And the entire quotation marks relationship was characterized by me feeling incredibly anxious and on some sort of adrenaline rush all the time. Um, I remember being constantly in a state of nervousness about whether he would reply my messages, when he would reply, whether he would ask me out, where he was going to ask me out to. I was constantly checking my phone. And I was always like, whenever I'll be working or doing something else, I'll be thinking about, oh, when is he going to reply? What is he doing right now? Is he thinking about me? I'll be constantly having thoughts like that in my head. So one fine day, he actually told me that he was in my city, okay, and that we should meet for dinner. Okay, from the pictures, you probably can guess like which city I was in, all right, but he didn't give any like timing or exact date or whatever. He just said that, oh, I'll be coming to the city this weekend. I'll get in touch with you. Okay, and I was at a pretty exciting gathering that I had been looking forward to for some time during that weekend. Okay, it was a workshop, and I hadn't been out of my house for a bit. I was always at work. I was work home, work home. So I was really looking forward to this workshop because there was going to be good food. It was in a really nice restaurant. It was going to be like networking and really fun and very chill stuff with people that I've met before. But I got there, and guess what I was doing the entire time I was there? Yeah, I was thinking about him. So I was like at a table with people that who were trying to catch up with me, and I was trying to have conversations with them, but all I could think of was him. So I was thinking, oh, where is he? Where is he gonna text? And then I'll be checking my phone and oh, what is he doing? Does he not want to meet me? Oh, he did say he was in the city, right? So why doesn't he feel any sense of urgency in meeting me? I'll be having all these. I was sitting there at the table having all these thoughts the entire night. Okay, and I was thinking this over and over again. So there'll be people like coming up to me and talking to me, and I'll try to have a conversation. I'll be like, yeah, 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 sure, yeah, great, interesting. And the whole time I was actually having conversations, I was checking my phone like under the table. Talk to someone, reply someone. Okay, check my phone. No message. Okay, continue conversation. So I was kind of in and out of conversations. And throughout the entire night, I felt miserable. I was super miserable. I couldn't even enjoy myself. I wasn't paying attention to anybody. I wasn't fully present, to anything. There was amazing food in front of me, amazing spread, and I wasn't even indulging or enjoying myself. I wasn't really taking in the entire experience that, it was an experience that I wanted to actually have for myself. And that was the whole point of going to the workshop, right? So it went on for a couple of hours, to be honest, and it just came to a head, came to a point, in the night where I was like, okay, this has got to stop. I need to stop thinking about him and start turning the attention to me and to my environment. And so I remember going to the washroom and kind of having like a timeout and just like looking in the mirror and just kind of telling myself that this needs to change. So I tried to challenge myself. Okay, so whenever he crept into my mind, I would turn the attention from him to me. Okay, um, it was pretty simple. So I decided to do that for the rest of the night. I had a couple of hours more, and I was like, okay, the minute like his face or like the thought about like whether he's going to text me back or not comes into my head, all I got to do is say stop and then turn the attention back to my environment, turn the attention back to me. Okay, so that was how I actually, tried to carry on with the rest of my night. Um, And really, that was all that was required. Okay. They've got to actually sometimes repeat the process several times. So the minute the person or your limerent object actually springs up into your brain or your mind, okay, the minute you have the urge to check on him, the minute you have the urge to, oh, I'm gonna look at his Instagram account. Oh, I'm gonna look him up on YouTube. Oh, I'm gonna start, looking at his photo and daydreaming. That's the cue, okay, or the switch to actually kind of tell yourself to stop and to focus on yourself. And this is something that I would like you to challenge yourself with. So each time you find yourself thinking of your limerent object, it could be like just him or something he said, or like you're thinking of like, oh, I want to go check up on him or whatever it is. Immediately turn that thought to yourself. That is the cue that you need to kind of stop and to turn that back to yourself. Um, these actually helps you to stop those thoughts dead in their tracks, and it prevents you from going down the rabbit's hole of ruminating, of thinking about him, thinking what is he doing, and obsessing about him, because these are the thoughts that actually continue your spiral, the limerent spiral that you have whenever you think about your limerent object. And why this works is that, firstly, you're making an automatic subconscious thought or action more conscious. The thing about limerence, and I think you already know what I'm talking about, is that, this limerent cycles that we go into, these thought cycles, these habits that we get into, they are very automatic. They are subconscious because we have been doing it so much that, whenever we think of our limerent object, boom, immediately that's the cue, and then we start going round and round and round in spirals. Okay, then we'll check him up, look at his photo, look at his YouTube video, whatever it is. It's a very automatic habit. And the thing here is that you want to stop that automatic subconscious habit and make it more conscious of what you're actually doing. So the minute you start thinking of him, it's that you know um conscious cue to actually tell yourself to stop that cycle. Okay, and the second thing is, and this is really important, is that you are making new patterns feel familiar. Okay, um when you form new patterns and you teach your mind differently, you are, rewiring your brain. You are making new patterns feel familiar. So your previous pattern was to, okay, the cue was limerent object. The trigger is, his face or his voice or whatever, or just a thought about him, and then you start that cycle, right? So that's a pattern. Okay, that's a pattern, a limerent cycle pattern. And you want to actually teach your mind to rewire your mind to do things a little bit differently, because that limerent cycle was a very familiar, very a pattern that you're very used to. So you want to make that pattern feel unfamiliar to you, and you want to rewire yourself and your brain and make a new, healthier pattern feel more familiar to you. And that new pattern is, the minute you get that cue about his face or whatever it is the cue to actually stop. And that's the new pattern that you want to set into place. Okay, and the third thing is that it extinguishes the triggers, okay, which, like as I've said so many times already, is the thought of your limerent object. So when you cut off these thoughts actually early on, you'll find that over time, your intense longing for your limerent object, it reduces in intensity. You will find less of a need to want to check up on them, because that is how, limerence gets extinguished over time. The minute you stop the process, the thought process, the feelings also kind of stop, because our feelings usually in limerence are actually informed by our thoughts. And we are not thinking of fantasizing or daydreaming about your limerent object. There's nothing to feel amazing or feel good about, so you don't start that whole like fantasy cycle again. um and when you stop that fantasy cycle over time, or you stop like your intense feelings over time, you just, because you're extinguishing it and forming new patterns and making it more conscious, you'll find that your feelings also get less intense over time. And after a while, you'll find that, hey, I don't even think about my limerent object anymore. Okay, I don't even think about them anymore, and when I do, I don't have this urge or this intense need to go check up on them. Okay, of course you gotta wanna try this, okay, because many people that I've seen with limerence do not actually really want to heal. Okay, so if you do, and you are determined to want to change how you approach limerence, or you want to be less limerent, okay, just try this. Okay, it's tested and proven by me. I've done it um so many times. The last couple of times that I've like uh, kind of like almost limerent for someone, I've actually tried this, and the limerent thoughts always dial back down and extinguish over time. Okay, try this today. It's a very, very simple method, and let me know in the comments if this actually worked for you. Okay, so again, I've linked two of my resources down in the description. So if you're new here, the first one is my book, and it's how to break up with limerence and romantic obsession. I go through a lot of the reasons why people are limerent, the psychological, emotional, childhood reasons, the neurological reasons. I also talk about obsession and addiction, which a lot of people do not touch on about, but plays a very big role in limerence. I also go through a lot of strategies over there. So if you're really keen on healing, do grab my book. And if you want something that's a little bit more tailored and a little bit more personal, this is because I ran the workshop myself, and you get to hear my voice. So I did this workshop recently, and I talk about like emotional unavailability, a very big issue in limerence, and why people limerent people are attracted to such situations. And if you're on my email list, and you can be on my email list if you grab my workbook or even my book or my workshop, and you can submit your questions relating to limerence, and I'll actually answer you personally in the workshops for a very small fee. And you get to keep the workshop your entire life. Okay, it's lifetime access. So the links are all in the description, and once again, thank you guys so much. Okay, you can check out my other videos on limerence that I've linked throughout the video, and also a link somewhere here on the page. Yeah, and check out a lot of my work is also on the self and from healing and on healing from within, so do check that out, and I'll see you soon in the next video.